The biggest mistake that real estate agents make when choosing a brokerage. There's a common error I see people making, or at least failing to considering what the whole flip side of this is when selecting a real estate brokerage. And it's something that both newly licensed agents and even seasoned veterans alike make when they're assessing their options on brokerage. In this video, I'm going to break it down so that hopefully you don't make this mistake. At least you know the other side of it if you do decide to move in this kind of direction. And if you're new to the channel, my name is Tyler Roicki. I help people build income and wealth in real estate, and I run an international real estate team at eXp Realty. If you get any value whatsoever out of this video, all I'd ask is that you like, comment, and hit that subscribe button so that I can continue to share more tips and resources with you in the time ahead. And with that in mind, let's dive into the video. And so the mistake that I see commonly made in the selection of brokerages is making a decision solely based on the cost and not considering what the entire other side of that is, which is what is the value that you're receiving. So question is a brokerage that has the lowest split, or I guess you could say the highest split where agent keeps most of the money, and the lowest cost, the best option? Well, here's the thing. Price in the absence of value is absolutely meaningless. So even if you could have the lowest cost, have the highest split, even if you could be at 100% split and have a tiny cost whatsoever to be affiliated with the firm, if any, I tell you what, in the absence of value, does that really mean a lot? Because at the end of the day, there are key components of value that we as real estate agents are going to lean on our brokerage for. I'm not going to go all into that in this video, but bottom line is the categories: it's training, support, leads, and the compensation model. And even on that fourth point, if a broker allows you to keep the highest amount of your commission possible and to pay little, if any, fees to be a part of it, is that the best earnings opportunity for you? Crazy question. Why be stuck at 100%? I know some of y'all are hearing that and think that I'm like crazy or something, but no, seriously, why be limited to 100%? What if there were a way to go beyond it? But again, I'm not going off on that track in this video. There's other videos I could go more into that, but bottom line is price in the absence of value is meaningless. And that's why you should never tell someone what your commission is outside of a buyer's consultation or a listing presentation, because if all they have is your price, if you haven't had an opportunity to articulate your value and what they're actually getting for that price, it's absolutely meaningless. And then they're going to make a decision solely based on price unless somebody comes along and demonstrates a higher level of value, which you may have brought to the table, but they never even had an opportunity to see it if all they heard was your price and didn't get to understand what the value is they get with it. So similar situation there with clients as it actually is with us on the business side of our brokerage and ultimately where we're operating our real estate business. Cost is a factor, but it's one of many things that should be considered. And so regardless of what price you're paying, know exactly what value it is that you'll be getting in return for that price you're paying in, whether it's a high price or whether it's a minimal price. Know what value it is that you would be receiving in return for that, and make sure that it makes sense. You know, I want to be clear about something. It's very possible to be penny wise and pound foolish in this industry. And that's where you see the costs, but are completely missing the value of what it is that you're getting or what it is you could potentially be getting to help you move the needle forward in your real estate business and ultimately your life. Because there's typically a trade-off between price and value. It's typically a trade-off. It's not all one way or the other. I mean, there is a price to be paid and there is a value to be received based on whatever that price is. So if the cost is low, the company will have less revenue per transaction to put back into investing in you and your real estate business. So they're gonna have less of an opportunity to provide value because the financial resources they have coming in are going to be very minimal. Now on the flip side, if the company's collecting a larger portion of the earnings commissions, if they're charging higher fees, generally they're gonna have more money on the table to work with to provide more value. So that's part of how that trade-off comes to be. And then, you want to assess, what are the fees? Is there a monthly fee? And actually, that's the thing that people get caught up on as well. I see people get caught up on what the monthly fee is. Sometimes that will dictate what kind of decision they make. And so there also is a trade-off on the monthly fee and opportunity for those firms out there that operate along those lines. Because I'll tell you, those firms out there that have a high monthly fee, one of the tendencies that they tend to have is to weed out those who aren't utilizing the value that is provided to the best of their ability to get a positive return on investment. So I think it's good to have a reasonable amount that's being paid on this in particular, but just understand that if that's what you're getting caught up on, it's intended to weed out those who are not plugging in and doing the most and ultimately getting a positive ROI on that. Because if you're gonna move based on a monthly fee, that means you're not generating enough business to cover it, or that's on the forefront of your mind. If the value's really there for what it is you're paying, you should be getting a positive ROI. And that's intended to weed out those who aren't, who just, the likely reason they aren't is probably because they're not putting in the inputs required to get the output that would cover it. So just understand that and assess that if that's what it is you're getting caught up on. And the last point I want to make here is that not all business models are created the same. So there's a concept in our industry, and there's a big difference between a company that's investor owned, which, to be fair, that's most real estate brokerages out there. They were created by investors and they're owned by investors. That's what most businesses are. But there's a completely different concept in our industry called agent owned. And that's where the whole company was set up and designed with the agent at the center of things in every which way possible, including who owns it and where that the benefits that come along with ownership are actually going and who it's benefiting. It's benefiting the agent in that example. And so say that the numbers are close and similar, right? Say if you're looking at different opportunities and the cost is close within a few $1,000s, call it. And so you got similar numbers, but say one company is set up in a way to maximize the returns for the investors who own that company, which again, that's most companies in our industry. And let's say that the other is set up in a way to maximize the value for the agents in all areas, including where that ownership upside and benefit is going towards. So here's a thought. In which of those two scenarios do you think the agents would get more? The one that's centered around the investor or the one that's centered around the agent? And so I share that because it's so important to not get solely caught up on the numbers, because we could split hairs, we could be penny wise and pound foolish, because what if you missed out on the biggest opportunity of your life because you are caught up on what the bottom line number was on the surface, rather than diving deeper and seeing how things were actually set up and what the value actually looked like in exchange for the price that was being paid? What if you had to pay a slightly higher price but had a business model that was set up completely differently in the way that it was actually created to benefit the agents, and what return that those agents are actually able to generate to help them move the needle in their business in all areas that are important? Like I mentioned earlier, we need training, we need support, we need leads, and we need a compensation plan. But why be stuck? Why be limited to a situation where 100% is the goal? Why not be in a situation where maybe that's more of a baseline that if we're highly productive, we can strive to get to it, but what if we could exceed it and far exceed it based on the upside we can tap into with a company that's agent owned instead of investor owned, and set up to be completely centered around the agent and the value bringing to the table? So I share that not to tell you specifically, you've got to be a part of XYZ real estate brokerage. But what I am saying is do not make a surface level decision on price. Do not make this mistake that is commonly made in our industry between seasoned and newly licensed agents alike, where all they're trying to do is minimize their costs and not really considering what value they're getting for that cost they're paying in, even if it's minimal. And so consider all those things and really take a deeper look, deeper than surface level. And all that being said, if you got anything I can help you with, if you would like any insights from me on anything I've spoken about in this video or any others, or if there's anything that I could possibly do to help you build your income in life in real estate, I'd love to know about it. So send me an email if that's the case. You'll find my information in the description below. And all that being said, if you got value out of this video, if you found it helpful, insightful, anything at all I'd ask is that you like, comment, and hit that subscribe button so that I can continue to share more tips and resources with you in the time ahead. And all that being said, thank you so much for watching the video, and until next time, I'll look forward to seeing you on the next video.